Welcome to Drinking Bros, presented by GhostBed.com.
What is up? Welcome to Drinking Bros Baseball. I am your host, Rob Fox. Happy to have you guys here as always. I am joined by Dan Hollaway, who we're running a little late today, in part because we didn't start the last show, Fake News, for like an extra 30 minutes because we were all just watching the bottom of the ninth.
Yeah. Sorry. Oops. Not sorry, obviously.
No.
Whatever.
We don't apologize for a lot here, even the things we probably should.
Yeah, fuck that.
You're not a big apologizer?
No, I actually don't mind it as long as I'm demonstrably wrong, right? But how often is that going to happen?
Really, yeah. It's not. I'm sad there's no gun on the table today, but...
It's in my pants.
Yeah, that's good enough. I kind of just want to, like, one day surprise you with my own gun to just put on the table right
That would
before.
be a fucking good power move. And it's like... it would almost be like a parent seeing their child succeed for the first time. You know what I mean? I'd be very proud of that moment. Like, oh, shit, you've armed yourself. Congratulations. A lot of people, this isn't a political show, but a lot of people, like the CNN likes to report, like, black people are buying guns in record numbers. Like, good.
Right.
Fucking good.
Of all the networks for that to scare.
You're not scaring me with that. I want everybody to have the goddamn things. Idiot. That was a gross miscalculation on their part. But anyways, baseball season's going pretty well so far.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries, though, already.
That part kind of sucks ass. They're at least, like, aside from when a team gets smacked with COVID, like the Nationals, it's at least, I guess, spread out. You know, like there's
more or less. I mean, Tim Anderson has been on the 10-day or IL, whatever the fuck it's called now. I think he's coming off now. He actually went 2 for 5 today, so he's looking good again. Max Fried hurt himself running the fucking bases, idiot.
not his fault.
It is. He shouldn't be running the bases in the first place.
Well, he has to go from like first to second or whatever. It's not like he was fucking like trying to stretch a hit into a first to third situation, you know? Like
he should focus on pitching probably first.
I agree with that. He's been a little spotty to start the year.
But yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of relatively minor stuff. Homeboy from the White Sox got injured before the season started, but most of these guys are on the 10-day IL or day-to-day or stuff like that. Like Yelich has had some problems. He's getting adjusted and stuff like that.
Half my fucking fantasy team.
Yeah, and mine too. I mean, but it is what it is. And luckily, these seem to be mostly short-term issues. So hopefully they continue to be like that.
The only person I saw who was a long-term one that got upgraded from a short-term one was Trevor Rosenthal, who was supposed to be the A's closer, and now he's on the 60-day IL. Because he was like, fucking, I'm getting surgery. But with Tatis, he could have, like we talked about last week, he could end up on the longer DL. But for now, they're trying to just like rest him back into the lineup.
I don't know what, man. I understand the apprehension to put him under the knife, but bad news doesn't get better with time. You know what I mean?
Right.
If it is the situation that he needs surgery, they may as well just do it now and shut him down for the year. Now, I know the fans are going to be fucking pissed about that.
Right.
But they're going to be a lot more pissed 2 years from now when he's fucking dead because they fucking because they tried to KD his ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Honestly, from the people I spoke to inside the Warriors organization, by the way, KD was demanding his way back onto the floor. That wasn't pressure coming from the front office because those guys don't do that.
Right.
The Warriors front office are a bunch of fucking meditation hippies that like they run their business a lot like fuck's his name, the guy that owns Fidelity Insurance. He's a former Air Force JAG officer, Bob something or other. He was the one that instituted these policies of really taking care of your employees, like having barbers come in and cut their hair so they don't have to leave work for that, or wash their car while they're in the parking lot during the day and things like that. Just free childcare, which Silicon Valley, he did this shit back in the 80s. And then Silicon Valley was like, oh shit, we should do this because the happier our employees are, the harder they're going to work, more efficient, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think the Warriors did that shit. And I think San Diego's taking a pretty good approach to this right now. They don't seem to be forcing him to do anything. Not that they could anyways. The kid's pretty independent thinker, but hopefully it doesn't go poorly for him health-wise. Because, I mean, frankly, it doesn't really matter. Because he's already paid, right? I mean,
he's good to go.
Baseball's not football. He's guaranteed that money.
Yeah.
So, you know, the insurance will pay for 70% of it, I think. It's the same deal that the NBA has. I think it's 70%.
Yeah.
But, fuck, man, it still hits your cap. if he's eligible at all, unless you just put him on the permanent can't play list or whatever the fuck. So, I mean, I don't know. That's a bad situation. I feel bad for the kid because I like him. I like the way he plays. I certainly enjoy watching him play.
Well, it doesn't matter, though, because he's not the face of baseball right now.
No, he should be, but he's not.
But it's all right because there's a equally, if not more fun, face of baseball, and that's Ronald Acuña Jr. Although, despite the fact that he's one of the most popular players in the game, let alone in his own fucking city.
Yeah.
There was one drunk Braves fan the other day on a video that went viral. He couldn't really get Acuña's name right while talking shit to Bryce Harper about how Bryce Harper will never be as good as Ronald Acuña Jr.
He's right about that, by the way.
Oh, I agree.
Bryce Harper is a B+ talent, honestly, which is still really good, by the way. Like he's
not 400 million good or whatever.
No, he's not one of the top 50 players in baseball. He's not one of the top 50 hitters in baseball, frankly. In my opinion. Like we looked at it last week. I think he in WAR he ranks like 36th or 37th over the last couple of years, something like that.
Yeah,
that's not. I mean, I'll say this: he does play pretty good defense. He's got a hose out there in right field. Could be better though.
He's good at defense in terms of arm strength, but in terms of like range and stuff like that, he's kind of pretty middle of the pack in defense and right field. But yeah, no, he'll never be as good as Acuña. I mean, that's obvious, especially to our producer, Fake Dan.
Well, he's just a Phillies fan. I don't think he cares who plays on the Phillies. He just wants them to win. But he's also, it's like Philly fans have the same kind of cynicism that Catholics have with the guilt thing.
Yeah, both.
Yeah,
so.
it's just, I know, it's just like things are going well right now. Fuck. Something's going to happen. Fuck, man. It's like.
What did I do wrong?
Yeah, it's like Pigpen with the fucking cloud over his head all the time. Just like something's going to happen. Or Eeyore. Maybe Catholics are Eeyore.
Catholics are absolutely Eeyore.
Yeah, but anyways, Ronald Acuña is quite the talent. I mean, honestly, we said before the season began that if he plays wire to wire and hustles all year, he will probably if he does that in any year, he's an MVP candidate for sure.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to the numbers in a minute because that's following right up at this. But first, Dan, if you could play this video of the shit-faced Braves fan talking shit to Bryce Harper at Truist Park over the weekend.
Bryce, you'll never be as good as Acoona. As hard as you try, you'll never be as good as him. You'll never be as good as Acoona. You can try as hard as you want. You'll never be as good as Acoona.
Now, if you can't read lips, what Bryce Harper is saying is Acoona. That's what that little squiggly line means, my man. But you can tell he's still like Real Muto is laughing his ass off.
Yeah, Real Muto turned around at one point and said, God damn it.
He's laughing his ass off. This is what I mean, look, these are spectator sports. They're meant to be played in front of people. So it's really nice to see him. And Harper, because of the level of attention he got coming into the league, I think that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
And personally garnered. Like he assured himself both on and off the field attention as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean it rubbed some people the wrong way, and then a lot of people, the people who love him really love him. He's like Draymond Green, right?
Right.
But you know, I think I don't think he's a mediocre player. I think B+ is probably rough. A-. He's an A- player. Like of all the best hitters, of the top 50 hitters, he's at the bottom end of that probably. Right.
But the problem is he has an A+ like raw skill set.
He's got an A+ raw skill set, an A+ face, name.
Oh yeah,
right.
He's hot.
He's a good-looking dude, and he's got a fucking cool-looking swing. He's not goofy or unathletic or anything like that, and it's unfortunate.
And when he hits a home run, my God, like he doesn't get any cheapies.
No, he crushes the ball on a regular basis. I like watching him play, to be honest, because he's one of those guys. Every time
he's a great heel.
He is. But despite his personality, every time he comes up to the plate, I think he can hit it out of the ballpark.
Every time.
There's a couple of dudes in the league like that I just feel like no matter what else is going on in the game, it's a puncher's chance. He's got a puncher's chance to knock that fucking ball out, no matter who the pitcher is or what else is going on. So
yeah. So the guy on his Twitter posted an Instagram story from earlier after this video went viral.
Oh yeah, blaming Crown and Coke.
Yeah, he said
don't blame the fucking booze.
He said he was like, here's proof of me pronouncing his name right earlier. I know how to pronounce it, and he said he had too many Crown and Cokes. And I have to two things. One, you have to think that Harper and Real Muto, even though this guy like made them probably want to throw him under a fucking MARTA train, because his voice is annoying as shit.
Yeah, it is. And it's just the same thing over and over. That's not clever.
No.
Like, talk some shit, get your reaction, and then, like,
move on.
Look at the guy, laugh and smile, like, clap for him, like, thanks for acknowledging me, Bryce. That's the way you should be. Like, definitely talk your shit. I'm not saying don't do that. Talk your shit. But once the shit talking's over, get past it and get back into the game. Right. So, anyways, yeah, Harper clearly liked it.
You have to think, like, they missed that.
Yeah, for sure.
From last year.
I mean, I can't imagine there's a better feeling. And I think Harper actually did this one time. Some dude was talking a bunch of shit to him, and then he just fucking crushed one.
Yeah.
After and looked back to the guy in the stands. That's got to be a good feeling, to be honest. To have somebody shit talking you. I mean, we do it all the time. We shit talk each other and then lose bets, and then you end up wearing a fucking Liberty jersey for a month.
By the way, I flipped it over because someone was complaining in the comments that I only wore the white side.
Oh, that's racist, yeah. So I don't do that.
I just white is right.
Well, yeah, but everything went viral. The guy's kind of a turd, but I do agree that these guys clearly enjoyed it. Now, to your other point, I think you were going to get into whether or not it is appropriate to have double crowns and Cokes at baseball games.
Is that an aggressive drink for a fucking baseball game?
I mean, honestly, a double Crown and Coke is not. It's still 40% alcohol, Crown and Coke, right?
I guess.
And you mix it 2-1, which means it's only like fucking 10% booze.
It's probably like a $40 drink at
no shit. Yeah, no, it definitely is because Ross and I used to routinely in the bottom level of Cowboy Stadium, where the locker rooms are, where the guys run out. We would be down there in those private bars, and every time we would order 2 doubles, it would be $53.
Yeah,
2 vodka soda doubles, $53 per.
48 for the drinks and then the tip.
Yeah, 48 for the drinks and then the tip. So it was like, fuck, man. But, it is what it is. You're trying to tie one on. Football games, it kind of makes sense to me because it's constant action all the time. That's the kind of thing that you drink at. I feel like getting hammered at a baseball game is a weird choice.
Baseball's a sipping sport.
Yeah, you got to, like, pay attention to what's going on and stuff.
Yeah.
You can tune out for a while and then tune back in, and you can still kind of figure out what's going on. But it's not the kind where you constantly have a drink in your hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's pauses. There's built-in pauses every 15 to 20 minutes, basically, right? If you're slamming fucking doubles that whole time, that might not be the best idea.
I'm not anti-liquor at a baseball game. Like, I'll have a margarita at a hot July game or whatever, but, like, I don't know, Crown and Coke just sounds like somebody's at a club and they don't want to remember being there.
Well,
like, that's a cocaine drink for someone who doesn't even drink, like, good drinks. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know how to drink alcohol. I'm going to take a lot of uppers. I'm going to be a fucking animal tonight.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe he was getting ready to tie one on later, although it seems like he passed out on Twitter. But it is Atlanta. Coca-Cola is made there. Yeah. Right? So what else do you mix with Coke? Jack, just whiskey, maybe? Yeah. Jack or Crown. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on there. Speaking of Acuña, he is indeed out of his mind. Now, he's hitting 447 right now.
These are before today's game.
Yeah, and he went 2 for 5 with a home run, or 1 for 4
with a home run, yeah.
He's leading the league with 7 home runs right now.
Yes.
Before we get too carried away, he's got the real number is 1.4 WAR right now. That's crazy. He's already we're fucking 2 weeks into the season, and he's already won 1.5 games by himself.
Yeah, he's on pace for like something like 15 wins above replacement.
Yeah,
right now.
And I think 10.9 is the highest ever in the modern era, or something like that.
Oh, in the modern era, yeah. It's a little bit over, and that's like a Barry Bonds year.
Yeah, you're not going to get Hack Wilson numbers because nobody's going to drive in 190 fucking runs in a season anymore.
No, I want to say Babe Ruth had like a 16 or 15 year, some crazy like that.
Now he's got 7 home runs, 6 doubles, a triple. Out of his 22 hits now, 14 have gone for extra bases. He's also on pace for 40 stolen bases. And we said before the season started, he's probably going to be 40-40 this year. He may creep to 50-50 depending on the season.
He's pacing for like 70-40 right now.
But that's here's some numbers I want to run through today. So looking at baseballreference.com, thanks for compiling all the stats, guys. We really appreciate it. Use them all the time. Now, these breakdowns, these splits are so interesting to me. So first half, Ronald Acuña.
For his career?
For his career, his entire career, yeah. He hits about the same amount of home runs, steals more bases in the second half typically, strikes out at the same rate, walks at the same rate, batting average identical first half and second half. However, April and March hits 339, May 255, June 331, July 248, August, 310. September and October, 262. He hasn't strung together back-to-back months in his career of
Right.
performance. So I don't know what the fuck that is. Is it a lack of concentration or I don't know.
Is it the ebb and flow of adjustments?
It could be. I mean, but adjustments throughout the season, maybe it's. We'd have to look at the schedule to tell for real or for sure, but I don't know if you play more divisional opponents in certain parts of the season. You certainly do in September and October.
Yes.
Right? So that could have something
the schedule
to
is backloaded on that month. For
But you
sure.
would think that hitting against the same pitchers repetitively would give you an advantage, not them.
I mean, yeah, unless just the division has good pitchers, which the Mets do always, but
the Phillies have Aaron Nola, and I mean there's a lot going on.
Yeah,
and we got Strasburg and fucking Scherzer, and I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
But he hits about 2.5 times more home runs in August than he does in June or July. So summer clearly gets to him. And I don't know.
I believe the ball flies pretty fucking well in Atlanta in the summer.
Yeah.
And he also,
it does.
He also, even though he's a righty, he doesn't have, I guess, the advantage of, Freeman might have, where he gets to hit a little bit at that short porch.
Right.
Acuna so often just like opposite field pop flies home run. He did it today.
Yeah.
To that, or no, he didn't do it today. He did it yesterday to that little short porch that Atlanta has in right or whatever. And that that helps from the heat.
He just flips his wrist over there, yeah. But I mean, it seems like it doesn't help a whole lot in June or July. Now, it is a common theme for there are certain pitchers, closers specifically, and sometimes starters who get big leads, who without the pressure of having to fucking be perfect every time, lose focus and start to regress.
Yeah.
Right. So we've seen this. Bring in a closer and it's a 4 or 5 run lead. You just want to get the outs and he fucking walks the first 2 guys.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is psychologically speaking, but it seems like without any other explanation, that seems like a pretty reasonable one for Acuna because he has been accused of not taking the game seriously enough before. He's been pulled off the field mid-game just like Andrew Jones was back in the day, right? So I don't know. I don't know what the explanation is.
He certainly, and that goes into what the next stats, like, you could tell in his first couple of years, like, he would take at-bats off. Now, maybe not fully, but it'd be the type of thing if he didn't get his pitch in the first 3 pitches, he's just kind of waving at balls, right? Because his strikeout rates have been pretty high over the first couple of years, but that gets mitigated by the fact that his power is insane, and even when he he still got on base a fair amount, and then obviously he's playing good defense in right and great defense in right, good defense in center.
He has looked better defensively this year than at any point in his career
because he's not moving anymore.
No, he's hustling and he's taking angles correctly and he's making throws. But he's always had a great arm and a very accurate arm as well. But it seems like, I don't know if Ron Washington helps a lot with their defense.
That's just infield.
Oh, really? He doesn't do the outfield?
No, he's the infield coach.
Who does the outfield? Because he's the one. Ron Washington is the one that taught Scott Hatteberg how to play first base.
Yeah.
If you remember from Moneyball. This is before Ron Washington got caught doing a bunch of cocaine.
Well, he got caught.
Yeah.
He was probably doing it, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Got to stay up all night, teach Hatteberg how to...
Yeah, but to that point, or to the point before, Acuña's chase rate is down to about 9%.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking good.
Yeah. And I forget who the Braves hitting coach is off the top of my head, but he was saying right before the season started that he's never seen, or that Acuna is now barreling balls that he couldn't get to before.
Kevin Seitzer.
Yeah, Seitzer was saying that Acuna was getting to balls that he didn't think Acuna was capable of getting the barrel to balls that he didn't think he was capable of getting his barrel to balls to before. Like Acuña's offseason was...
You saw today in the 9th inning, that single he hit to left.
Yeah.
Right, to left center, I guess. He brought us... That's a pitch that he would have hit off of this part of the bat, not on the barrel. It would have been a pop-up on the infield probably, right? Or he would have broken his bat and hit a ground ball. This year, it's a single, set up the game-winning hit, right?
Yep.
So that's a big deal, man. I mean, it's... You really fucking... like to see a kid at 23 years old who's, had some fucking problems with hustle and focus really starting to dial it in now, and that should be frightening for everybody else in the league. That's because once you get once you stop swinging at bad pitches and force pitchers to come to you, and now you're talking about Mike Trout level. Mike Trout is not stronger or faster than Ronald Acuña. He has a better approach at the plate, and he figured it out real fast, right?
Yeah.
He figured it out after 40 games of one season. He came out the next year, had learned everything, and has continued to progress as he's gotten older. It took Acuña a couple years, but if these are signs of things to come, then whoa, right? I mean, so in 2019, this is the most recent data I can find. In 2019, the chase rate, best chase rates in the league were like 18-20%, right?
Yeah.
Big strikeout year. Now, his was 18% last year, right?
Yeah.
Acuña's was?
Yeah.
That's a pretty big increase. Now, Joey Votto, who is one of the hardest people in Major League Baseball to strike out.
I want to say, aside from the fact when, like, pre-modern era, when it was like shameful, like you were a samurai to strike out. You know what I mean? Like that was like it brought shame on you to not make contact with the ball.
Yeah.
In terms of after that era, one of the hardest players in the history of the game to strike out, I believe.
You're talking about Joey Votto?
Yeah, in his prime.
Tough,
yeah.
Very tough. The Major League average in that season, 2019, when Joey Votto really, or not 29, whatever season it was, when he had a 13% chase rate,
right,
which is the lowest in the league at the time. Mike Trout that year had 18. Mookie Betts was 16.2. So those other two guys are hitting for power and only chasing 16 and 18. Votto, his power numbers went down significantly, right? After his first couple years in the season. So Brandon Nimmo from and Andrew McCutchen, also notoriously difficult to strike out in that 2018 season. They were at 15.9 and 15.9 again. Joey Votto led the league at 13.1. Now, I don't expect Acuña to carry 9% all season.
No.
Because he does have a tendency to flail when he gets frustrated or bored or whatever it is. But if he keeps... That is a good indicator that he's seeing the ball really well.
Yeah.
Right? So if he's able to carry that through the season, I believe that he will probably 40-40 and win the MVP, like running away. I don't think it's going to be a problem. And he's probably going to hit like 310.
If he hits 300 and has an OPS, you would almost definitely have an OPS over 1,000.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If he hits 300, he has an OPS over 1,000,
yeah.
no question.
Yeah. I don't know, especially with Tatis out. It would just take, I don't know what it would take for someone else to.
And we looked this up before the show, actually, because I was curious when the last time separate people from the same team won MVP in back-to-back years. I think the last time was Verlander and Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah.
And then before that was 07-08 with Ryan Howard.
6-7.
6-7.
Yeah.
With Ryan Howard and Chase Utley.
Jimmy Rollins.
Sorry. It doesn't happen that frequently. Before that, I looked a bunch of times. Not very common. So.
Yeah. And by the way, those Tigers teams and Phillies teams were fucking loaded.
Yeah. Yeah, they were. Let's see. I mean, Chipper is, after he left, somebody, who just said that? Craigers. Chipper Jones is a part-time hitting consultant. I don't know what his actual title is.
He's like, yeah, basically. So it's basically like when they're in Atlanta, he works for the team.
But that's really all it takes. I mean, if he's talking to Acuña on a day-to-day basis and teaching him how to stay focused and challenge himself, I mean, look, Jordan was the king of that. And it probably stems from that sophomore season where he didn't make the varsity team. He was like, fuck this has never happened to me again. And then he just, like, from a very young age, figured out that he could challenge himself and didn't need other people to do that for him, right? Mm-hmm. If Acuña can learn that skill, he's going to be one of the best baseball players in the league for many, many years.
So there's one thing to note about that, too. So Acuña grew up in Venezuela, but I feel like a lot of people have a tendency to picture players like Acuña or, whoever else, Marcelo Zuna, just foreign-born players that you think are, like, Dominican especially, as just being, like, these, like, orphan athletes that like don't know what they're doing.
Got blindsided.
Yeah, Acuña's dad was kind of a 4A minor leaguer, career minor leaguer, but he had similar ridiculous gifts like Acuna did growing up, and just never tried, and like Ray's son was in Junior's life the entire time and shit like that. So Acuna has a literal father figure to be like, I didn't get the most out of my insane talent. You have even more talent than I do. You can't let it go to waste.
Yeah, his dad, by the way, is only he turns 42 soon, if that tells you anything.
Yeah.
He had about 3,200 minor league at bats, and he hit 282.
Yeah.
Probably just wasn't motivated or didn't know what people know today. I don't know what it is. Anyways, Acuña's great. What's this about Philly sports?
Oh, there was one. Acuna hit a jack the other day against the Phillies, and there was one Phillies local radio personality, Joe D. Camara. I forget what radio station he was on, but he tweeted, "I'm disappointed the Phillies did not plunk Acuna after he admired his home run ball for so long before running. I know a lot of young fans like to see these antics. I don't. It's not how the game should be played, and if it is played that way, a pitcher should do something about it." That was the 450-foot home run Acuna hit to dead center.
I'm pretty sure if you go 450 to dead center, you can you can take a minute and look at it, but I don't know.
You could probably rub yourself a little bit on the way to first base if you fucking feel like it after hitting that ball that Acuna hit. Go fucking Google it. It is goddamn insane. To dead center too. It wasn't like a pull shot that went bananas. The contact he made with that ball was fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean he really hit it hard, and just reading about this D. Camara guy. He overslept and missed one of his own shows earlier in the season. Maybe he should shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he's a Philly sports guy. 94 WIP.
Yeah.
Just, pretty much they run out anybody now for, midday radio.
He's been on the air for 16 years, so I mean, it's fine that he feels that way. And I'm not saying you shouldn't hit a guy.
Right.
Right? Sometimes it's funny.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's necessary to protect your own players, but not for that, man. I mean, if he hit a wall scraper or something like that and he just stared down the pitcher, fucking drill him for sure.
Yeah.
But if he's looking at the own ball he hit, the solution to that is to not let him hit 450-foot home runs off of you, right? That's how I've always felt about that.
I would think so. It's always tricky for me to say, I'll just say this. If you have the control and you want to put an 85-mile-an-hour pitch into his ass,
yeah,
to just be like, hey, buddy, fuck you. Because, by the way, 85, we hear that and we're like, oh, that's soft. That's a soft pitch. It still hurts.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great.
Yeah. I'm okay with that in so much as it's good for the entertainment value of the sport. The same way, if Sidney Crosby puts 3 in against the Flyers, he might get a shot.
Yeah, he might take one shot. The problem is that the NHL has a system for dealing with that, right?
Right.
They have the enforcer, and the enforcers will fight each other. It's like choosing a champion in an ancient battle and letting two guys fight it out to determine. Ultimately what it's about is about protecting people. Honestly, the people think about fighting in hockey as, oh, it's violent and blah, blah, blah. No, it's actually about preventing further violence.
Right.
It's what it's always been about. If you watched Ice Guardians, that documentary on Netflix, amazing. It goes through the Proby and all those guys through the years that are just fucking wrecking balls, just knocking people out and shit all the time. And they're I think the one was British. She studied sports health, for lack of a better phrase, and her determination was that the more tight the NHL has become on enforcing fighting penalties and stuff like that and trying to get it out of the game, the more injuries to star players have happened. Now, correlation versus causation, who knows? But we've seen those bigger hits on star players. Sidney Crosby's had his bell rung a number of times, and that should, back in the day, how many times did Wayne Gretzky get hit hard?
Right.
0.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been hit a couple times, but he even brought his own enforcer from fucking Edmonton over to fucking LA.
Yeah.
He was like, no, I'm not playing without that guy. Are you kidding me? I'm fucking weigh 180 pounds.
Yeah. It's kind of like a twisted pitcher-catcher situation.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, it's my catcher.
Like Eddie fucking
Perez
catching for Maddox. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's just like, this is the guy that beats the shit out of people for me.
Yeah. Seriously. I mean, you don't leave home without that shit.
No.
And nor should you.
That'd be kind of a rad thing to have in real life.
Well, we got Chuck Liddell in the network now.
Per-
Maybe I could just have him follow me around and beat the shit out of people whenever they fuck with me. I don't know.
That's fair. You know what else you probably shouldn't leave home without? Just off the top of my head?
Probably Killcliff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just ordered a shitload of their energy drink, and I've also ordered a shitload of their CBD for the office. It's the best products on the planet.
I love Killcliff. Killcliff is the only, the CBD drink's great if you just want to like chill out, and if you're hungover or whatever, and you just want to like feel better. Killcliff CBD, I love it for that. Great for every day too. And then the Killcliff energy drink, we're specifically with Killcliff CBD, but I'll just say on the side, whenever I come into here hungover and have to both have energy and chill out, and I'm hungover or whatever, the energy drinks, incredible. They have, it just makes me feel better. But yeah, we're big fans of the Rogan one, especially the spicy pineapple. Good marker.
Yeah, what is it called? The Flaming Joe.
Yeah, Flaming Joe.
It's jalapeno pineapple flavor. It's really good.
What is
really good.
What is the code on that?
Let me look in the copy here. Well, there's no.
Not
copy.
in there.
It's Drinking Bros.
Yeah.
But let me try it right quick and make sure it works.
But it's like, is it like 20%, something like that?
Yeah, it's 20% off.
Okay, yeah.
And free shipping.
And free
obviously,
shipping, yeah.
I mean, that's the big one. Anytime you're shipping liquid, getting free shipping is a huge. Man, it really just saves you a shitload of money.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I actually get really indignant at this point if I spend over a certain amount of money and still have to pay for shipping.
Right.
Like I spent like $150 on some clothes last night, and I was
Yeah.
like, "That's not free. Over $100? You fucking kidding me?"
Yeah, that seems like it should be free, probably, right?
You can't give me the $8, but whatever. Anyway, we also have Ghost Bed.
Yeah, Ghost Bed. Sleep so good. It's scary. Ghost Bed, they have the best beds in the world. People, Jason Rao was on the show yesterday from Breaking Benjamin. He's got one now. He was talking to us about how, we were just talking about how sleeping on the road sucks because you're always missing your pillows. Now, you don't buy a new bed that often, every 2 or 3, 4 or 5 years maybe, but I buy new sheets and new pillows all the time. Pillows wear out pretty fast. They're smaller, right? These actually last a long time, and they're the most comfortable ones in the world. I bought another one, but I'm thinking about buying one more pillow and a suitcase made specifically for them to travel on the road. That I feel like that'll help me sleep because I don't sleep well. We travel a lot.
Do you have the cooling ones?
Yes. Yep. I've actually got the Ghost Lux mattress, the adjustable base, and 4 or 5 cooling pillows in my house right now. And I've got several beds, but
Those cooling pillows are insane. They're like, you touch them and you're like, was this made by a witch?
Yeah, are you
Like
a wizard?
Yeah, like it's really does not make sense how it's that cool. Yeah, ghostbed.com /drinking bros. 30% off most of it, and then there's 40% off one other thing, right? Or something.
It's Ross. What is the 40% off for Ghost Bed? It's the adjustable base is 40% off.
Okay,
right now,
yeah.
And those things are dope as well. I mean, you can turn your fucking bed into a couch, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, not even kidding. That's not an exaggeration at all. You can literally turn your bed into a couch.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's like the opposite of a futon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're a piece of shit if you sleep on a futon, but you're like luxurious and
Yeah,
decadent
classy, yeah.
if
You
you
got the-
sleep on a ghost bed with
Yeah,
the
for sure.
adjustable base. Last but not least, we have Policy Genius.
It's that time of year, man.
Yeah.
Especially here in Texas, with all the stuff that's happened over the last couple of months with the freeze and all the aftermath of that. And then April, you get rained on a lot. You got taxes going on. You're starting to look at your wallet a little bit more. Policy Genius will help you find home and auto insurance policies that make sense for you, right? If you need a positive experience to balance it all out, consider shopping for home and auto insurance with these guys because they help you. So you can log in with your coverage plan or through your site, and it'll compare your current policy and rates to all those available on the market, and you can pick and choose. It'll help you determine which one's best for you and your situation. Like, well, there's all these other add-ons on my current policy, but I don't use any of that shit. They're going to help you find one that doesn't include it. And they save customers on average about $1,055 a year, which is a lot of money. You could buy fucking stocks with that.
Yeah, you could triple that with the bat that fake Dan likes so much.
I don't know about all that shit.
Yeah, probably
but
not that one.
Yeah, don't listen to Fake Dan.
Dude, if you make $50,000 a year, that's
It's 1/50th of your salary, yeah.
that's over a week's worth of money.
That's a week, about a week, about a week's worth of money because people work about 50 weeks a year typically. They compare all the rates from the top insurers, Progressive, Allstate, to find the lowest quotes. Their primary goal is to maximize your savings by bundling home and auto insurance and stuff like that, and they'll switch you over for free. They've the most 5-star ratings of any insurance-related company that exists. So it's a very simple process. It's not so. A lot of people are like, "Hey, we'll help you do this or that," and you get into it, and you're like, "What the fuck is happening right now?" I feel like I'm trying to crack a safe. Like I don't have the time for this. It is super simple. Go to policygenius.com to get started now. It's the best.
Really, as far as insurance goes, whether it's home and auto like this or medical, but we'll just stay with home and auto for now. You should reward simplicity as long as they're doing you right, because I feel like that's a way so many people just get legally fucked.
Yeah.
Is they get flustered by you. Actually, we were talking about this yesterday on your APP podcast with the guy from Operation Resiliency, where veterans get fed up to hell with the bureaucracy of the VA and stuff like that.
And just quit. Yeah.
Just quit.
Yeah. That happens to a lot of people. And then, I understand it, but you ultimately don't end up getting what you need out of that situation. So go to these people. They will help you navigate the process. Car insurance and home insurance companies, particularly after situations where there's a lot of filings that happen, if there's an emergency or natural disaster or something like that, rates start shifting all over the place. When budgets change, when politics stuff change sometimes, rates go all over the place, and they keep you up to date on that stuff. They'll get you the best deal for what you actually need.
Policy Genius.
Yeah.
They're rad. They're great. Great company. So back to baseball.
Yeah, baseball.
Acuña might not be striking out, but everyone else is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
Right now in 2021, so far, the K-9 rate, that's strikeouts per 9 innings, is 9.4 per 9 innings. MLB pitchers have more strikeouts than innings pitched for the first time in baseball history after, any amount of time, essentially.
Right.
And we're only like 13 games in. I kind of wonder, as far as hitters go, all that for a drop of blood?
Yeah, that's wild, right? I mean, I don't know. It's
because offense is down.
Offenses typically take longer to. They take longer to, or batters rather take longer to get in the groove than pitchers do typically at the beginning of the season. Some guys usually start out hot. Acoona is actually one of them. Some guys throughout history have notoriously started extremely slow. What's his name? Switch hitter from the Yankees, the Rangers, played for the Braves, Mark Teixeira.
Yeah.
Mark Teixeira in March and April hit like fucking 180 for his career or something like that. It was terrible. But then, he destroyed it the rest of the year. So there are guys like that. But this one seems a little different. I don't know if guys are swinging harder because the ball's dead. I don't know if it's weather or I don't know what's happening, to be honest.
So that's the crazy thing. So there's less runs being scored and strikeouts are astronomical. Home runs to fly balls are up. And it's because hitters somehow have gotten even more competent, but are also selling out even harder for the home run than ever before. So we talked about a minute ago, Acuña barreling up balls better than he ever did before.
Right.
That seems to be what's going on across the league, because despite the fact that the ball has for sure been deadened, up at this chart in here, the average length of a fly ball is about, where is it at? 6 feet shorter than 2020.
Right.
And 10 feet shorter than 2019.
Right.
Despite that, barreled balls are at an all-time high.
Well, there you have it, folks. If you were wondering if the commissioner of baseball is full of shit, wonder no longer. He definitely was. It's the highest. The barrel rate is the highest it's ever been since they started tracking the stat. Exit velocity is also up,
which I assume is directly correlated.
Yeah, for sure. It's especially incredible because pitch movement is at a decade-long high, and spin rate is the highest it's ever been, right? That makes the ball technically harder to square up.
Yeah.
But guys are doing it better, so I don't know if they're seeing the ball better Maybe if the seams are higher on the ball, they can see the spin better, so it kind of counteracts that. I don't know what the new baseball looks like. Does it have lower seams, higher seams?
I mean, I haven't held one in my fucking hand. But
if it has higher seams, then breaking pitches should be better, right? I don't know.
So curveballs. So I was looking at Fangraphs on this. It seems to be mostly vertical movement that has increased. Curveballs are dropping harder than they've ever dropped.
That's seams, probably, right?
Yeah, and then four-seam fastballs have more rise.
Well, they don't technically have any rise.
But their movement has increased as well.
It seems like maybe this is the strategy that's been an American League strategy for a long time, but it seems like there have been a lot more solo home runs this year. Like if you come up with nobody on and 2 out, and you're a slugger, you're trying to get in scoring position. Home run, double. You shouldn't be thinking about fuck getting a single in that position.
Right.
Who cares, right?
You take a walk, but that's about it.
Oh, you'll take a walk. Don't swing at bad pitches. But if I'm up there, at least the first pitch, if not the first 2 pitches, strikes that I see, I'm trying to go deep or hit a double, right? Something like that. It seems like guys are really getting into that right now. We'll see how that plays out long term during the season because that's almost a strategic move. Situational hitting is something that has been completely lost on this generation. Honestly, nobody can fucking bunt anymore. Like Ender Inciarte trying to bunt the other day for the Braves.
Shit,
what the fuck was he doing? He is a guy that doesn't hit home runs. He's a center fielder. He's left-handed. All of those things say you should be able to bunt, right? He should be able to bunt the ball. He should be able to get it down. And what he does is what everybody does right now. They're holding their bat level like this.
Yeah.
I was taught fucking 25, 30 years ago, whenever the fuck it was when I first learned how to bunt, that you pull the bat out like you're pulling an arrow out of a quiver, and you keep it on that same plane, like this right here.
Yep.
Right? At an angle. Then when the ball comes in, you fucking guide the entire bat as a single unit to that. You don't do this ever.
No.
The axis doesn't change. The angle of the bat never changes. You just move your bat to the ball. You don't punch at it. You leave it at the same angle and the same distance from your body, and you move it to wherever the ball happens. Guys,
and get it into the
can't do
fucking
it
ground.
anymore, man. What the fuck? It's the easiest thing in the world to do. I never had any trouble bunting ever, and I wasn't even that good of a hitter. Bunting was easy. You just stand
with
there,
a metal
fucking
bat?
meet the bat with the ball, man. What the fuck?
With
But
the-
guys, the metal bat, it's a little more difficult to deaden the ball. But man, people can't do it anymore.
Just to stay with the Braves, the fucking Charlie Morton popped into a double play.
Yeah.
On a bunt play too.
Yeah.
Like the pitchers can't even do it.
No. I remember the Braves pitchers in the 90s.
Oh, they
didn't fuck around, man. Glavine, Maddox, Smoltz could bunt. They could also hit, but they could bunt.
Oh, they were the best bunters in the
Yeah.
world. I never thought I would take bunting for fucking granted.
I know. Well, I mean, it is what it is. I don't think those guys should be hitting in the first place. But
Right.
a professional hitter like Ender Inciarte, who's going to get 500 or so plate appearances in a year,
Yeah.
you need to be able to bunt, dude. If you're hitting 8th in a lineup in the National League, you need to be able to bunt.
Yeah. But so this whole, it almost doesn't make fucking sense to me the way these stats line up with each other, right? Like the ball's moving more like a wiffle ball than it ever fucking has, yet somehow players are both striking out more and barreling it up more.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's just, and it probably is
I
this.
think that sounds like guys are guessing more. They're looking at zones instead of pitches.
Yes.
Right? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, if you're able to guess zones, because a lot of guys do that instead of when people steal signs. Sometimes a lot of guys don't want to know what the pitch is; they want to know where the pitch is going to be. Right?
Yeah.
So if it's inside or outside, they want to know that, but they don't want to know if it's a fastball or changeup because you want your brain and body just to react to that. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe it's something that happened in the tape. That's why I know a lot. I don't like to lean on the analytics too much to make game decisions because I think that's a mistake because those analytics only work in the aggregate.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean shit in a fucking 9-inning game or a fucking 7-game series. It
Right.
doesn't mean anything. So I don't like that stuff, but I do like to see where the trends are going because if I'm a hitter, I'm trying to adjust. If I'm a pitcher, I'm trying to adjust to whatever the trend is. Like, oh, people are doing this more. And then I'm trying to think ahead. I'm trying to think of like, well, how are people going to try to solve this problem and how can I get ahead of that solution? You know what I mean?
You know what this reeks of to me? This reeks of essentially players murdering bad pitching and good pitching murdering the rest of the hitters. And that is fine, like you said, in the aggregate. right, over the course of a year, if you're feasting on either a shitty team or even a medium or good team's back end of the rotation, or, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't say like this barrel ball happened in a close game against a good team. It could be barrel balls against a good team's shitty part of the bullpen when they're up 8-2.
I mean, it'd certainly be interesting to see breakdowns of 1-2 rotation and how they're going against, or what their fucking barrel rates and chase rates are versus the rest of the fucking staff.
What I'm guessing is, if these trends hold for the most part, they're not going to hold like exactly like they're holding right now. But if these trends like broadly hold, where strikeouts are up, barrel rates are up, movement is up. Their movement will almost certainly still be up. Yeah, I don't know why it would go down.
No, it wouldn't. That's not going to change unless they change the baseball. That's not going to change.
What this strikes me is going to happen is you're going to get to the playoffs or late in the season, and you're going to be like, oh, where'd all my barreled up balls and home runs go? Because you're going to be getting pitched to by Trevor Bauer and fucking Garrett Cole. And not fucking shit dick at the back of the rotation.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see, right? Because there's those. You're still going to see some of those guys in the playoffs. So those play-in games are going to be 2-1, 1-2 games, or 2-1, 1-0 games, maybe, right? But then as you get in deeper into the series, particularly in the divisional round, usually there's at least one team in that divisional round. You're like, all right,
number 3 is not so.
No chance. And it's not necessarily based on seeding either. Sometimes it's a team that happened to win their weak division, and you're like, you're fucking. There's no way you're winning in here.
Right.
And to be honest, it makes you wonder. Or it makes you worry, rather, about the Braves. If they don't do something about their fucking bullpen,
we're fucked.
Mentor can't throw strikes. He's got to go. Like, you got to get rid of him now. If a guy can't throw strikes, then he's in his own head. Send him down to AAA, let him learn to throw strikes again, then bring him back up.
Get Luke Jackson the fuck off that team.
Their entire bullpen sucks.
Keep Matzik.
Matzik's good. Yeah.
Matzik's legit. Newcomb's been good so far,
but he can't throw strikes either.
I'm fine with Will Smith as well. Oh, and Tomlin.
Will Smith is good, and Tomlin is a good innings eater for sure, but he's not going to be a closer. I mean, actually, maybe he would be. He's got a weird delivery, but his mechanics are different, but his style of pitching, the way he pitches in reverse, is very similar to Trevor Hoffman. I'm not saying he's as talented, obviously, and Hoffman was he was an animal. That dude, ice water running through his veins.
Yep.
I don't know if Tomlin's like that or not, but I see him pitch in a lot of big games, and he does pretty well most of them. So I don't know. Maybe he is.
Well, speaking of, I don't know, what's the opposite of ice water in your veins? Just dog shit in your veins?
Pussy juice. I don't know. For a very long time, Major League Baseball, with a couple of exceptions, has, in my opinion, had some of the best officials, referees, umpires of all the sports.
Agreed.
I think baseball's been pretty good, with some notable exceptions, right? Like Levon Hernandez against the Braves in '97. Right. Who was that? Eric. What was that guy's name?
Was it Sam Holbrook?
No, I think it was that big fat dude.
Oh yeah. Look it up real quick.
Eric. I think his name was Eric something. But anyways, him and Laz Diaz is pretty well remembered as an Angel Hernandez. Everybody hates. Oh no, Laz Diaz is good. Eric Gregg, yeah, big fat dude. I think he had a heart attack like 2 seasons later on the field.
He died in 2006 at the age of 55.
Yeah, but I think he had a heart attack on the field. During a Cubs game, and they had to fucking replace him or something like that. But anyways, ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball game between the Phillies and Braves was decided by one of the worst blown calls I've ever seen, and it was inexplicably upheld by review process. So it was so egregious that the Braves after the game weren't even talking about the call. They were like, "Why do we even have replay if this is going to be the result? What's the fucking point?" Like,
it's really bad when you skip the immediate problem and you just start addressing the institution.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, what Travis d'Arnaud was like, look, it takes 5 minutes to do this, and they spent 5 minutes looking at that fucking little clip, and they still came away with clearly the wrong answer.
Right.
So what the fuck are we? What's the point?
Never touch the plate.
Yeah.
One theory I heard is that essentially it was kind of that the replay office is a bit of an extension of the umpire fraternity, where they want to protect their own. You know what I mean?
Why? It's
circled wagons type of thing.
I wouldn't have expected that guy to get that call right in real time.
It was a tough call in real
You're
time.
not, because his foot's bouncing like this, and
Yep.
you don't know where his heel came back down,
Yep.
if it hit the plate or if it hit right next to the plate, right? And
Yeah.
it obviously matters because it was a game-winning play. Why would you be embarrassed to not make that call? That's a fucking tough. That's an impossible call to make.
Yeah.
Because if you could stand in front of the plate and look at it from that direction, that would be fine. But the throw's coming in that way. You can't be in the way. You've got to be behind the plate. It's the
Yeah.
way it is. And he had the best angle he could find, and it was still a tough call. He shouldn't. The home plate umpire should not have felt bad about that. And the idea that you feel like you need to protect the institution is designed to get the call right, not to protect this little bitch's feelings, man.
Right.
Are you fucking kidding me? And if they're thinking that way, now this is a supposition, but if they're thinking that way, that is fucked. And they may as well just do away with it at that point, right?
What, replay?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the funny thing to me whenever people talk about, like, we need robot umpires. Do you not think Major League Baseball will fuck that up?
Oh yeah, come on, dude. They fuck everything up. Here's the truly remarkable part about this particular instance, and I think it betrays the fact that most Major League Baseball players, or at least a lot of the really good ones, because they're the ones talking about it, do not like the replay system.
Right.
So Will Middlebrooks says, "How do you watch that replay and say he's safe? Ha ha, this is a joke." And then Mike Trout replied to that and said, "So bad." Justin Turner says, "Absolutely brutal. Saw two angles that were clear. He never touched the plate, and we get a call that stands. I'm with everyone else. What's the point of replay? These aren't. these are World Series champions and MVPs talking about this shit right here.
Right.
I don't remember a time in Major League Baseball history. I know social media changes things, but I don't ever remember players on opposite teams coming to the defense of somebody on another team about a call like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that means that the entire league is tuned up on this right now. They're all fucking pissed off. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Tony Clark bitching about this at some
Dude,
point in the future.
fuck replay, not just this year, since it's been instituted, is a fucking coin flip.
Yeah. I mean, they may as well just flip the coin, man.
Yeah.
Why not have it like the fucking possession arrow in college basketball? Like, oh, you get it this time. Why not?
Like,
You know what I mean?
literally.
Like, seriously, what's the fucking
You
point?
never fucking know what they're going to call. Like, when you watch the NFL, right?
Yeah.
You're like, let's call it 80 to 90% sure they're going to make the right call. When you watch the NBA or college basketball, you're always sure that they're going to get it right. And the NHL too, because they've had replay for decades. It's so entrenched in those sports that it's impossible to fuck up at this point.
Yeah.
With the MLB, you're like, well, I mean, okay, they're reviewing it, but like, who knows what that means?
And to its credit, I mean, as much as I dislike the NBA as an organization, to its credit, it still puts out those final 2-minute reports and says, hey, we fucked up, or hey, we got it right, and here's why, or whatever the case is. Transparency is the key to all this.
Yeah.
Because I say this all the time on our political shows, but bad ideas don't get exposed in a vacuum. They get exposed by good ideas. Good information is what solves bad information, not silence, not ignoring the problem, not protecting the fucking person that said the wrong information. Jesus Christ. And it happened earlier in the week, too.
Yeah, this wasn't a replay, but it was a horrible call.
It was a bad call. I mean, Michael Conforto from the Mets is clearly trying to lean into him with the bases loaded to get a walk-off. And if a pitch hits you in the strike zone, that's a foul ball.
Yeah.
That's how that's supposed to work.
Right.
Now, it didn't work that way here. And he's clearly leaning into it. But you know what? To be honest, the Mets probably needed that one.
They probably did. So actually, before we get into the next one, which is hilarious.
They're not good.
Nelson Cruz got the opposite of that call today.
Really?
With the bases loaded, Nelly didn't move, and the ump was the ump was like, "Get the fuck back here."
Wait, you're not required to move necessarily, are you?
You are required to make an effort to get out of the way unless it's like egregiously at you.
Well, I'm going to watch the video right here. I got to go into MLB.TV. They are not a sponsor.
You should be able to get it on Twitter too if you want. But yeah, Nelson Cruz, bases loaded today. Twins, Red Sox, I believe. Twins, Red Sox, and it's in Minnesota, and the game was tied, I think. Anyway, Nelson Cruz was up with the bases loaded. It wasn't bottom of the ninth, but it was close to it. It was late in the game, and he didn't fucking move out of the way of the ball. You have to essentially. You don't have to move out of the path of the ball, but you kind of have to like react to at least slightly. Like you can't just stand there and be like, haha, it's going to hit me.
Well, I mean, it ended up not mattering anyways because Kepler hit a walk-off single. But, I mean, yeah, I don't know about that. Why do I have to move? Throw the ball where it's supposed to go, fuckface. You know what I mean? Like, why? In every other sport, you're allowed to occupy the space you're currently occupying. if we're playing basketball, if I'm on offense or defense, and you forcefully move me out of my position, right, in a way that obstructs me from receiving the ball or possessing the ball, that's a foul. If it's the NFL and I'm a receiver and I'm standing there and you knock me out of the way, or you're a fucking DB and I'm a receiver and I knocked you out of the way, then that is a fucking penalty, right?
Yeah.
Why in baseball do I have to fucking move out of the way of a ball that's barreling towards me?
So I think it's not necessarily you have to move no matter what, but when you're a player like Cruz who's hanging over the zone,
he definitely does do that. Yeah.
I think that matters. I think maybe it's if you're outside, like part of you is outside the batter's box type of. Same way it might be with basketball, where you don't actually have a right to your space in certain spaces on the basketball court, right? Like in the little zone under the basket, you can't just fuck around there.
Yeah. And that's mostly for safety reasons, though, by the way.
Yeah.
Like if you're inside the restricted area trying to take a charge, you're probably going to upend the guy. You know what I mean? And put him on his head. So that's not a good thing anyways. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's interesting. It didn't matter at the end of this game, but it is. That one's probably a good call, I guess.
The Cruz call?
I mean, based on the rules that exist currently, that is a good call that they made. So whatever. But the Mets suck.
They are. So we talk about it all the time on this. Get a little angry even about how bad the Angels waste Mike Trout.
Yeah.
And I would say that's far more egregious than what the Mets do to Jacob deGrom. But man, do you even want to be on the Mets anymore if you're Jacob deGrom?
No, I don't want to be on the Mets if I'm anybody. Right?
What if you're you right now? Like,
no,
hey,
fuck no.
Dan, we'll put you on the fuck drinking bros. We'll put you on the Mets.
No, I'm all set on that. So I'm going to go through some historical versions of what you're talking about right now as well.
Do you want me to read the deGrom stats real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So in 2 starts so far this year, Jacob deGrom has 21 strikeouts. So that'd be 21 strikeouts in, I think, like 16, 17 innings probably.
Right.
Max. He's allowed just 1 run. He has a .64 ERA. Mets are 0-2 in those starts. I believe at least the second start, they didn't score any runs.
That's not good. There was a 2-year period when Nolan Ryan pitched for the California Angels, and at the time, I would say they may have been, if not the worst, one of the worst teams in baseball, right? So I'm just going to read some of his stats from those seasons. 3.4 ERA, 67 total games started. He completed 31 of them with 12 shutouts. 480 innings pitched, and in those 480 innings, he struck out 513 people.
Good God.
As he is wont to do.
Yeah.
9.6 strikeouts per 9 innings for a guy who is pitching deep into ball games, obviously.
And in an era where strikeouts were much harder to come by.
Much harder to come by and considered an embarrassment. Matter of fact, he struck out Ron Washington 39 times in his career. That's a little fun fact that I have stored in the back of my head somewhere. His record in those 2 seasons, 31-30, right? Unbelievable that you can pitch that well and go 31-30. He would have won. Had he not pitched for the Angels and he had pitched for someone else, Nolan Ryan very likely would have won somewhere around 400 games. I mean, he won 324.
He had a weird, almost fetish for pitching for shitty teams.
Well, I mean, when he was his last year or his next to last year in Houston, this is an even better example. 2.76 ERA. This is 1987, by the way, when everybody just started doing steroids. This is Bash Brothers 1987.
Well, you know what's fucked up? So everyone had just started doing steroids, but most of the league was still putting the bat on the ball.
Yeah. So 1987. By the way, he's 40 in this season, and this is before modern medicine is like it is now, keeping guys healthy. 2.76 ERA. 34 starts at 40 years old in a season. 211 innings, 270 strikeouts. I mean, what the fuck? 11 and a half strikeouts per 9 innings, 3.1 strikeouts per walk. He went 8-16. Dude, what the fuck is that shit? I mean, that should be impossible. Completely impossible. By the way, was Mike Scott on that team as well that year? Let me check right quick.
I don't know.
Mike Scott he was with the best curveball maybe in baseball history. Him and Bert Blyleven probably one of those 2 guys, at least back then.
Zito wasn't too bad either as far as just straight curve
he could
goes.
throw it straight.
Oh, and fucking Wainwright.
Adam Wainwright, at his prime. So same season, by the way, Mike Scott former, I think 2-time Cy Young Award winner, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't he win twice?
Let me check it out.
He had a 3.23 ERA, started 36 games, 8.5 strikeouts per 90. Pitched a little bit more to contact. He was 16-13 that year. But the Astros had Nolan Ryan, right? 2.76 ERA, 8-16. Danny Darwin, right? 3.59 ERA, 9-10. And then they had Bob Knepper. I mean, he was 5.27 ERA. He lost 17 games that year, but it is bad for the game. All that rambling, this is what it's about. It's bad for the game when one of your greatest players is on one of your shittiest teams.
Yeah.
It's bad for baseball.
Let alone when the greatest player in one position and the greatest two types of players in your game are wallowing in mediocrity.
Certainly not in the playoffs.
Yeah. And when the Mets did make the World Series, wasn't DeGrom like their fourth or fifth guy? I mean, he wasn't really seeing.
Yeah. And it's fun. I mean, look, this is the Mets, man. We said this before the season started. They've got new players. They've got shiny new fucking toys and blah, blah, blah. It's the Mets.
Yeah.
Man, they'll find a way. They're like the Knicks now. They'll find a way to fuck it up.
What do you think that they'll be? They're free now that Bernie Madoff has died?
I don't know. Was there a curse from Bernie Madoff?
He was their owner was got fucked over by Bernie. He was one of the big Bernie Madoff victims.
Their owner is Cohen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a cunt.
Or maybe it was their former owner. What?
Maybe I don't know.
I can't remember. Whatever.
But anyways, yeah, that's pretty funny. It's people like dependability, even if I'm depending on you to be a fucking shitbag. To be honest, like if Jared Taylor all of a sudden started showing up on time for shit, I would be like, "Are you okay, buddy?" Like that would rock me to my core. I'd be like, "Oh, the fuck is going on here?" You know what I mean? I don't want to see that shit. Anyways, Yadier Molina becomes the first catcher to catch 2,000 games for one team. A little surprised that he was the first. I mean, catchers' careers are typically shorter than a lot of other guys, or they transition from that. If you're as good of a hitter as Molina was in his prime, the instinct is to get you out of that.
Yeah.
Right? Get you out of that position. I mean, Bryce Harper came up as a catcher, right?
Right,
and
yeah.
they're like, nope,
never.
not one chance. So, this guy's caught not only 2,000 games in general, which I don't know how many is the most, but it's probably Pudge Rodriguez. But
yeah, he hasn't hit the most caught games of all time.
because I think Pudge beat the other Pudge, right?
Oh, maybe.
I think it was Carlton Fisk, and then Pudge beat him, if I'm not mistaken, when he was with the Marlins. But anyways, yeah, you can look that up. Most games caught by a catcher. But this is pretty remarkable that he stayed in that position and stayed not only productive defensively, but also offensively for years, man.
So Molina just hit 2,000. There are a couple people ahead of him. But he's the only one to do it for one team. Jason Kendall, 2025. Because Jason Kendall was a fucking skeleton when he retired. He looked so fucking old. Gary Carter, Bob Boone.
Yeah, Gary Carter. He died, didn't he? Like brain cancer or some shit?
He's dead, yeah. Bob Boone.
Oh, I forgot about Bob Boone, for the Reds.
And then Carlton Fisk is 2,200 and Ivan Rodriguez is 2,400. So I don't think Molina is going to take down Pudge for overall games.
I mean, maybe this is his 38-year season. If he somehow plays 2 more years, he might. I don't know, but I can't imagine he would.
Yeah.
Shit, why would you? I mean, it seems like the Cardinals are coming up on a fucking rebuild year at some point soon. So that's probably when he'll dip out.
You would think so. They haven't had a rebuild in 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now the question is this young man a first ballot Hall of Famer? I don't see how he's not.
Right.
I feel like we're at a situation that we've seen enough from this dude that we have to. The burden is on somebody else to prove that he shouldn't be.
Right.
Catching is a premium position, and he's been, I would say, one of the top 20 best hitting catchers of all time, probably, and consistent throughout that process. I don't know if he's in the top 10. I mean,
no.
Mike Piazza, fucking, even Gary Carter during his prime with Montreal, and then early years with the Mets was really good. Fucking Johnny Bench could fucking rock the ball. He had like 360 some home runs.
Well, even Pudge. Did you say Pudge already?
Pudge Rodriguez. Great
hitter.
He certainly, he was on steroids, but he certainly could have gotten pretty goddamn close to 3,000 hits had he not been injured those last couple of years. So I don't know, man. I look at the
best comp for him to me, even though it's not the same position, is
Right.
but it's the same team as Ozzie Smith, right?
Right, but he's far superior offensively than Ozzie Smith was.
He
was the best defensive catcher in the game for a long time and way better than Ozzie Smith. Now, Ozzie Smith had a lot of big hits,
Right.
but
Yadier Molina for his career is below 100 on WRC plus.
Yep.
He's 99.
Yep.
So essentially, he turned himself into a really good hitter, and then just got kind of old. But I actually think he is very similar to Ozzie Smith in terms of that he comes up with big hits a lot. Like
he does. He's a
I'm
good situational
never,
hitter, right? Yeah.
Never worried about Yadier Molina in the third inning.
Makes a lot of contact.
Yeah, Yadier Molina in the eighth inning, ninth inning. I'm fucking terrified of Yadier Molina.
Yeah, he's. This dude posted 2+ wins above replacement defensively for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years out of his career as a catcher. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And the hitting thing. He's going to end up. He's already got 2,000 hits. I don't know how many catchers have 2,000. Probably the ones that you just listed because they're the ones
that's
that play
got to be
that many
about
games.
it.
He's going to have 2,000 hits. He's going to have 100 and probably 80 home runs for his entire career, somewhere around there.
If he gets, unless he doesn't play a lot this year, and he kind of got fucked by last year, like everyone else did, I guess.
Yeah,
though,
for sure, yeah.
he'd have 1,000 RBI. He should have 1,000 RBIs.
Yeah, and that's another thing. When I think about somebody who's truly a great hitter, I look at how their ratio of strikeouts to RBI, right?
Yeah.
Even in the modern world. Now, he's sitting at 940 RBI right now with 812 strikeouts for his career. That means he is a very good situational hitter. That means he fucking drives in runs when it's time to drive in runs. Because look, the pitcher in those situations is trying to strike you out.
Yep.
And you make contact, get hits, or hit ground balls or fly balls, they score runs. That makes you a fucking. That's why his wins above replacement is so goddamn high, to be honest.
Well, that and are you looking at Baseball Reference or Fangraphs?
Baseball Reference.
So I'm a Fangraphs guy.
Yeah.
We'll have to fight later.
Maybe. We'll see.
Can you not use your gun? That'd be cool. You probably don't need it. But Fangraphs added in framing. I don't know if Baseball Reference did. And his wins above replacement, once they added in framing for the year that they had the data for,
Right.
skyrocketed. He was sitting in like the 40s or something like that.
Wow.
And
That's pretty. Man, it's.
because here's the thing. So
the confluence of being a good. The way baseball people talk about it is they call him a receiver, right?
Right.
He's good at receiving the ball, right? He makes it look good. It gives the umpire one more excuse to call a strike. That's all. Yadier Molina is a great receiver. He's a great pitch caller. He is a great fucking defensive backstop in general. He's got a hose for an arm, and he hits 280 plus, and drives in runs and doesn't strike out much. How is he not a fucking first-ballot Hall of Famer?
right. And the only thing, he is absolutely the type of Hall of Famer that he's a first ballot. He's just, it's the type of thing where like none of his numbers are going to necessarily blow you away. Certainly not if you're only a casual baseball fan. But if you know anything about fucking baseball, like this guy is the epitome of a Hall of Famer.
Right, for sure. This is what I mean when I say a great hitter. And the reason I always compare the ratio of strikeouts to RBI with great hitters from any era.
Yeah.
Right? Hold on. Got one more to look up. One more. All right. So we'll start with a little bit of Monica and a little back of the day stuff. Let's look at Babe Ruth, right? Babe Ruth is a pretty impressive hitter, I think. Ruthian is a phrase. Hit a lot of home runs. He struck out 1,330 times, and he drove in 2,214 runs. Okay? Let's move on to a little bit after that with Willie Mays and Hank Aaron. Willie Mays struck out 1,526 times, drove in 1,903 runs. Hank Aaron struck out 1,383 times, drove in an obscene 2,297 runs.
That would be the all-time record for RBIs.
Yeah, and nobody else is even close. Even in the modern era with a free-swinging guy that wasn't too concerned about strikeouts, Ken Griffey Jr., 1,779 strikeouts, 1,836 home runs. Or RBI, rather. Barry Bonds, 1,539 strikeouts, 1,996 RBI. So this is something that I think it's one of the best measures for telling a truly great hitter. And although Molina doesn't put up huge stats with power numbers, I mean, he hits a lot of doubles, but not an incredible amount of home runs. Doesn't hit for a crazy average. He is consistent and doesn't fuck his team out of games, right?
Ever.
And what did he win? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Gold Gloves. Come on. I mean, even to be in the major leagues as a catcher for 9 years is impressive enough.
Let alone 17.
Yeah.
And counting.
Yeah.
I don't know that this is his last year either, but I think
I don't think it will be. I think he's going to play 2 more, to be honest.
They're kind of Tom Bradying him right now, like 1-year contract situation.
I mean, that's fine, dude.
And why the fuck not? You know what his WRC plus is right now? I mean, it's, 11, 12 games in, but
yeah,
it's 159. He's hitting 342. Fuck it. Already racked up half a win.
He's 9 Gold Gloves. I think the highest ever is Pudge. He's got like 12 or 13 or something like that. Nobody will ever catch that guy.
What, for a catcher?
Yeah. No way.
I'd say Greg's got the most Gold Gloves.
Who?
Maddox.
Jim Cott had 16, right?
Greg Maddox, 18.
How many? He had 18. Holy shit! So Jim Cott's second place. He's got 16.
I think he won a few off of reputation, but whatever.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, the thing about Maddox was he landed in a good position to field the ball.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing for him. He was prepared for it every single time. A lot of guys, not so much.
Nope. Just real quick, want to take a peek at the standings. Angels and Royals barely in first, but interesting. I still like the Royals. I think they're a fun-ass team to watch. I was actually watching the Angels and Royals game the other day. They're playing each other. And, I mean, the Royals, it's a Dayton Moore team. I really fucking like the way he builds teams essentially counterintuitive to what the league is doing right now. Like, he's a contact guy, defense.
Yeah.
The pitching sucks. They don't have the pitching yet. And they're probably not going to do it this year.
No, probably not.
But the lineup's in place. The lineup's there.
Yeah.
I mean, they could still use a piece or two, but like they're like 60% of the way to a good team.
Yeah, I mean, which is, to be honest, when they won the World Series, they were probably only 70 to 80% on the way to a good team, frankly. So, they're one of those teams, small market teams that can do a lot with a little. Big market teams, which are most of the teams in the National League East, by the way, are having mixed results. The Braves, Twins, and Yankees are on last right now, which that trend will not continue. But
right.
The really interesting thing that you noted here is that no one in the National League East has a run differential higher than 3 or lower than 12, minus 12, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just if anybody comes out of the National League East with 95 wins or more, I would be shocked at this point, unless the Mets and Marlins truly tank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If that happens, then they're going to get beat up a lot, and stuff will happen, and guys will win games.
And the Marlins don't. It's early, but like they don't look like bullshit. At the worst, at the very worst, they still have a ton of annoying players that can like fuck you. They might not. You might not want them in the aggregate. You might not want them for 500 plate appearances, but at any given time, they can just sting you. Whether it's Aguilar or Duvall, who they took from us, or Jazz Chisholm the other day. Like, we're giving up three-run home runs to Jazz fucking Chisholm. And then their starting rotation with Sandy Alcantara and everyone. I mean, like, they
like
have
that Alcantara kid. He's going to be...
Yeah, Sixto Sanchez. Like, they have a good rotation. Their bullpen still sucks. But, like, they're, at worst, a team that will annoy the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And the NL East is already eating itself. Dodgers doing Dodger things.
Yeah. Well, before we move on from the NL East, I got to mention Anoa from Atlanta. This kid is fucking lighting it up.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with Max Fried. He's just throwing belt-high fastballs and letting people rock them. I don't know if he thinks he's still throwing batting practice right now or what, but he's going to be on the IL for a while. But Huascar Anoa, man, this kid looks fun. And it's not about... He's making fucking good pitches. It's not like he's throwing has a weird delivery or something's going on or batters just haven't seen him before. He's painting the black knee high on the outside corner. Yeah. Consistently. It's like a 1-0 count and it's like bam. Like he fucking took a nail gun and drove that fucking thing in there. I'm like, holy shit, this kid's 22 years old. How does he have the fucking composure to do that yet? You know what I mean?
Right.
The best pitch in baseball, by the way, according to Greg Maddux, is strike one.
Agree with that.
Just to get that out of the way. Anyways, and Noah's great, and the Dodgers are look, there's no competition in that division for them, and to be honest,
As Braves fans, we've watched a lot of really good regular season teams.
yeah.
And the Dodgers, the last 3 to 4 years especially, but really the last 7 years, you can say, but this Dodgers team, last year's Dodgers team, year before that too, I just have never seen
They look different this year.
a better regular season team than the current iteration of the Los Angeles Dodgers.
They actually look better this year than they did last year.
You know who they remind me of a little bit, but they I think are better than them too, is I remember Dan's fucking Phillies from their prime in like 08, 09.
Yeah.
07, all the way up to 13, being a fucking Death Star.
Yeah.
Where you just like line up against them and you're like, how the fuck?
Yeah, there's no outs in this lineup. Where'd I go find out?
And there's no hits to get either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was a whole other problem.
Right. Like this team, there's just nothing. There's no, like, you just have to get lucky.
Yeah, and one of the things that's going on with the Dodgers right now that is a really, really good thing for them is that Justin Turner is on fucking fire. Now, he comes out pretty good. He's not a slow starter at all. He's a slow starter power-wise usually, and that's not been the case this year. Like, he doesn't hit a whole lot of home runs early in the year, and right now he's already got 3. You know what I mean? He usually hits his home runs later in the season, particularly in August, and he's already hot. And that was one of the things when I was looking at the Dodgers this year. He was one of the points of concern for me, for them. Now, he plays great defense. He's going to, right? But it looked last year like his bat slowed down a little bit. And I don't know if he's adjusted that or made some changes or maybe he was hurt and now he's better. I don't know what's going on with the guy. But he looks fucking good this year. And that's not good news for the league because you still have to deal with all these other assholes. You still have to deal with Muncy. You still have to deal with Corey.
Muncie's having maybe his best year of his career so far. And Corey Seager, who I believe it was Ben Verlander who said he's a potential MVP candidate. He's hitting 356 right now. Then you have Cody Bellinger, who's on the 10-day IL right now. Right. Like they even fucking care.
No, they don't even need him in the lineup right now. AJ Pollock is fine. And Mookie Betts is Mookie Betts, right? He's hitting 323. And you're going to get out of him what you expect to.
And Trevor Bauer's looked okay so far. There are some people who are like, well, maybe it's kind of a mirage. He hasn't had necessarily a lot of amazing seasons because he hasn't.
No.
Like he really came into his own at age 27 in 2018. He looks pretty fucking good so far. It probably helps him that the ball is a little raised, has more movement than ever.
Probably, yeah. I mean, look, he gave up 2 home runs in Coors Field on opening day. Not opening day, but on the second day of the season.
Yeah.
And came back, 11 days later? 2 starts later, about 11 days, usually about 11 or 12 days, depending on how the, how the schedule works. Came back and fucking shut Colorado. Not that Colorado's great or anything, but he pitched against the same team, right? 10 days, 10, 11, 12 days later, and shut their ass down.
Yep.
That is a sign of a pitcher who's locked in. Sometimes you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to throw a high fastball, and it's going to get poked out of the yard, and it just is what it is, man. Guys, that's why whip is so important. I don't mind giving up home runs. I just don't want them to be 3-run home runs. You know what I mean? And if he's, God damn it, if he's locked in this season with Kershaw, Bauer, and Buehler, and then whatever you get out of Dustin May and Urias.
Who the fuck cares at that point?
You're done. The lucky thing for everybody in the league is that Kenley Jansen's still their closer. And that dude is like fucking, man.
You say it's lucky, but all they're going to do is take their somehow amazing farm system still, despite the fact that they trade and all this shit, and go find some closer.
If I was a Major League Baseball team, unless I had a guy like Trevor Hoffman or Aroldis Chapman or what's his name? Kimbrel.
Who, by the way, is back this year.
Yeah, he's coming back, yeah. Unless I have one of those guys, I'm reaching into my farm system for fucking arms. Like, you throw fucking 1,000 miles per hour, get up here and close this game.
Right.
Give the guy the keys to the car. What's the worst thing that happen? You're going to lose a couple games in April? Gives a shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Give the guy the keys to the car and say, you're my fucking closer at the end. Because the best closers of all time have been people who have been thrown into the fucking well, or thrown into the fire like that.
Yeah.
Ken Burrell was a closer from the instant he put on an Atlanta Braves uniform. Aroldis Chapman, from the instant he put on a uniform. Now, Trevor Hoffman, I think
He was a starter. Rivera was a starter.
Rivera was a starter, but not a good one.
Hoffman wasn't a good starter either.
No.
Eckersley was the only one that had a career that was.
Well, John Smoltz,
John
too,
Smoltz, yeah.
But before Smoltz, it was only Eckersley.
Right, yeah.
But, some guys are clearly cut out for that work.
Well, you could do people. It's so funny that people, going into the year, were like, well, is Tony La Russa too fucking old to understand baseball?
No.
When they fucking won
The rules of baseball have not changed.
Right,
the fuck
right.
are you talking about?
When they won the World Series in 2006 with the most MacGyvered fucking team on
no
earth.
shit, man.
Who was their closer?
Yeah.
It was their best starting pitcher prospect, Adam goddamn Wainwright, dropping a hook on Carlos Beltran's frozen face while Donald Trump, by the way, was sitting 3 rows up watching it.
And not only did that happen, but then they fucking took Wainwright and put him back into the rotation afterwards. So I'm fine. Tony La Russa is going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Unless he's got dementia or something. I mean,
Right.
Unless he's ill, that motherfucker's going to be fine. You think Dusty Baker's having a hard time figuring out how baseball works?
Right.
Fuck no, man. That's why you can put Dusty Baker on any team and he'll be a good coach.
Well, and the other thing, by the way.
Dusty Baker it's weird to say this because he hasn't had World Series success the same way some of the other managers have had, but is he the most talented manager of all time because of the variety of things he's done? I mean, it would be him or La Russa, right? You would think.
I mean, Cox went to a World Series with Cox went to an LCS with 2 different teams.
Yep.
He won division titles with 2 different teams.
La Russa won World Series with 2 different teams, right?
Yes. And then you've got guys like Madden, who's won a World Series, I think, or been to a World Series with 2 different teams.
Yep.
And
shit, Madden, I mean, if he's, who knows what's going to happen over there now, right?
yeah, right.
Who knows?
There's one other dude who I really like, but I can't remember his name off the top of my head. What I was going to say, though, is the nice thing for La Russa, by the way, is he's old and the owner likes him, so he's free.
Yeah.
He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Joe Torre's a guy that's
yeah.
going to be up there too, but I mean,
He only did it with one team, though.
yeah, he only did it with one team, and he only did it with the team, right? I mean, get
Yeah.
the fuck out of here. Although, to be fair, Paul O'Neill was from Cincinnati, right? But Bernie Williams was a New York guy. Derek Jeter was a New York guy. Fucking, I mean, I guess they had Boggs for a couple of those years, but Scott
Boggs
Brocious
won
was
it
a
with
fucking
him in 96, yeah.
Hey
Brocious-
guys, I hate to interrupt you here, but the WNBA draft is going on live right now.
Oh, shit.
And we did not do a live show. I want to tell the audience we apologize to
Yeah.
them.
Sorry
We're not
about
going live for the WNBA draft tonight. So
Do you think they flew everybody out? Like, do they have the budget to even have an in-person draft, or is it just like, are they having a fantasy draft and they're going to email the results to the people?
if you want a hilarious image of what it is, go on Twitter right now. Their war rooms look like they're in maybe a Motel 6.
Pull it up on the screen, Fake Dan. I want to see it because this is ridiculous.
What do you even need a war room for that draft? There's only, it's not the NFL draft. There's only 2 rounds. Like, it's like
Yeah.
the NBA draft. You don't need a war room for the NBA draft. You just
Yeah.
fucking know who you're going to take.
Yeah. Speaking of, who's that guy?
There it is.
Oh, somebody
WNBA
made
draft.
Skip Bayless look like a fat guy. That's pretty funny.
That is good.
All right, great. That's it. God damn, this is stupid. This is not great. We're looking at it now.
I don't have any. I have literally zero animosity towards the WNBA or whatever. The only thing I have animosity towards is people being like, "You should love it just as much."
Yeah.
Like, that's fine.
I don't have animosity towards it. What I have is called ambivalence. That's a fancy way of saying I don't give a shit. And neither does anybody else, clearly, because nobody watches this stuff. And the people who do watch don't buy the products they support, because if they did, there would be more commercial success.
No, actually, you know what? The worst part is all the people on Twitter who stand for it who don't watch it themselves.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, come on, man.
I tweeted this a long time ago, but it was about women's tennis when they were talking about some people were like complaining that.
Look at this. Oh my God, dude. Are you kidding me?
It's showtime, everybody.
They've
The
got-
WNBA draft is here, baby.
They've got like one of those fucking $50 ring lights from Amazon and an iPad. It's not even a real camera, for fuck's sake. Are you kidding me?
It's WNBA draft night, baby.
Oh, that's embarrassing. And there's a fucking fat girl behind the camera, too. America, women power.
Well, to be fair, that's not on the WNBA. That's on the Alabama Athletic Department.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, look, what are you going to do, man? What are you going to do? It's good for the women or women involved, though. I mean, it's got to be exciting to be able to do what you like and get paid for it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, even as little as they get paid, that's not common. Most people hate their jobs.
Right.
So good for them. And I agree with Draymond Green. They need to learn how to market themselves better. That's their job to do. It's not everybody else's job to accept their shitty product. It's their job to market their product better. And if they're not going to do that, then they can get fucked, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of how it is.
One of the worst things The Ringer ever wrote was one of their people was like, I'm going to explain WNBA basketball to you. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'll read this because it's like, oh, maybe there's like a different just set of strategy there. Right. I don't know. And then it was literally like 1,000 words of the guy just being a fucking asshole and being like, what they do is they put the ball in the hoop and they just explain the rules of basketball. And I was like, yeah, I don't think you understand how to make the WNBA appealing to people. Because it can't, dude, I say this all the time, and I'm not doing this to be woke or anything, but like one of the most fun events I've ever been to was here in Austin when the Mizzou women's team played in the NCAA tournament, because in the first round, a school hosts.
Oh, yeah.
The first 2 rounds, a school hosts, and then they go to the bracket or whatever. I just got shit-faced and went to the game and cheered on my alma mater for 2 rounds. One was against BYU, and that was great, being drunk, yelling at Mormons.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It is fun, yeah. So when I was in high school, the men's and women's basketball team was really good.
Yeah.
And our fans were crazy. We got referred to as Cameron Indoor South. That was what the local newspapers referred, because we fucking raised hell. And it started out with just men's varsity basketball, but as that season progressed, I think it was my freshman year actually in high school, we started showing up for the fucking women's games, then the JV boys and women's games, or like on Thursdays instead of Fridays and shit like that. We were raising hell all the time because rooting for stuff and against stuff, faces and heels, that shit's fun, man. People like to do it. It's not necessarily all about the dunks. It's just not. It's not all about the big rejections. It's about giving a shit about the result.
Right.
Make me care about the result of this game. Otherwise, it doesn't matter what happens in the game. You might get some clips on SportsCenter and shit, but nobody's going to watch. And if they don't watch for the entirety, or at least 27% or so, I'm not going to get into marketing here, but unless they watch a quarter plus of the show, you're not going to get valuable marketing out of them.
Right.
Right. How are you doing that? That's the question. That Draymond Green's not a fucking sports analyst or a marketing genius. Let's be real about that. He's a fucking basketball player, but that's kind of what he was trying to say. And I like when it works out too, because I like to be entertained.
Well, and dude, the fucking thing is like, I say this all the time too. Like, it doesn't need to be the best possible fucking thing I can see, because college football and college basketball are clearly not as competent as the NFL and the NBA. And I like both of those sports better. And the reason for that is how they market themselves.
Right. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's in college sports, it's all about the team, right? So it doesn't matter if the game is super exciting or not. People are huge fans of
the brand.
Of the brand, yeah, but they're also big fans of mid-market or mid-major teams that they're not dunking all the time. Shit, man. I mean, they're not making highlight reel plays. They're just winning games.
Yeah, you go full fucking games without seeing us like a dunk that's better than a dunk you'd see in the WNBA. Just like a quick
for sure. One last note before we leave: the Red Sox are tearing it up right now, mostly due to JD Martinez, who is got a 1307 OPS right now.
Yeah,
he's on pace for about 70 home runs and 200 RBI. Obviously, that won't hold. But
isn't it funny when there's a dude who's had like, he's not necessarily that old per se or anything like that, but he's just had like 2 kind of quiet years. You just haven't even fucking heard about him, even if he's been kind of good.
Right.
And then he comes back and you're like, oh fuck, JD Martinez. Yeah.
Remember that guy that had 30 home runs and 100 RBIs every single year?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot he existed. Yeah, it's easy to forget he existed. And he has been around for a while, since 2011. But it seems like he's one of those guys that has repeatedly been the subject of trade talks, no matter where he goes.
Yeah.
And to me, that makes it seems like it's not aged him as a player, but aged him in our minds.
Yes.
Like he's been on our minds. Like, oh, remember that guy got traded back in 2014? You don't think about people like that
He's been
anymore.
playing forever.
Yeah.
But in reality, he's been in the league. He started in 2011.
Yeah.
So he's played a year less than Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's really interesting. So he's never played more than 4 seasons for one team. This is his 4th season with Boston. It's not common to see a guy that puts up numbers like this bounce around from team to team. Usually it's fucking journeyman. Guys that hit 20 home runs get traded a lot. Guys that hit 35 plus don't get traded that frequently.
Right.
Or, not necessarily just traded, but he also had some injury issues. But even in that season, that season where he got traded from Detroit to Arizona, he hit 45 home runs and drove in 104 RBI. 302 and 305. He did that in 2 separate leagues, right? Transitioned from one league to the other, and he still crushed it, man. He's a fucking really good hitter.
Man, isn't it interesting, by the way, too? So he started out with Houston during their awful rebuild, you know what I mean, where they just went to the depths of hell.
Yeah.
I don't know if they traded him specifically to get prospects or whatever, but he was pretty bad on the 3 years with Houston. I wonder if they were just like, this guy's a fucking scrub, let's just let him go.
Maybe, yeah.
Imagine 2017 Houston or whoever the fuck, or even 2015 Houston, because that was the first year they made the playoffs, just with JD Martinez at first base instead of or at DH instead of was it Yuli Gurriel? I think who plays.
Gurriel,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, standings look interesting so far. I mean, nothing crazy. It doesn't really matter. Whatever. 13 games in.
Yeah, who cares?
We're overreacting to most everything, I think, except the barrel rate stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's
really interesting, yeah.
but yeah, fun little time so far. Glad
the Astros actually released him.
God damn. Yeah. Yeah.
In 2014, and on the 22nd of March, actually, so right at the end of spring training, they released him, and the Tigers signed him. And in that season with the Tigers, he hit 23 home runs and 76 RBIs. And then the season after that, 38 home runs and 102 RBIs. So it seems like maybe Houston just sucked.
Yeah, they might have just been really fucking dumb. But I mean, and in that 2014 season, 23 home runs, 76 RBIs sounds okay or whatever. 154 WRC plus.
Yeah.
He wasn't, he was a lot better than those numbers bear out. He hit 315.
315. His batting average on balls of play was probably super high.
389.
Yeah.
So fucking huge. His BABIP's 415 this year. I mean, or 414 this year. But yeah,
it's early. Give him time. He'll fuck that up.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's about it for us today.
Yeah, it is. Let's get out of here.
It's a little late. Well, it's like, where the fuck are you?
Yeah, we'll see you in hell.
Like, talking about sports, bitch.